Hey everyone, and welcome to the Noonchi podcast season 2. I have with me K-culture, K-drama, K-pop, K-beauty writer Rachel Lovette. Hi Rachel, thanks for joining me.
Hi.
We're based out in the West Coast, and super excited we got to know each other through, of course, social media, Instagram. But you get very close to people who are other K-culture fans, and talking about it, and especially talking about K-dramas, which we're going to touch on. But I got to know her through other friends in the K-drama world. So welcome, Rachel. So glad to have you.
Thank you so much. I'm so excited to be here.
Yes, and I love that. First of all, I'm kind of jealous of your job writing about K-dramas, K-pop, K-beauty. That's so much fun. So we'll have to talk about how you got into that. But first things first, I always like to know your journey into the K-drama space or even K-pop space. What did that look like for you? When did it all start?
Oh gosh. So it feels like so long ago when you're like, oh yeah, like 2019, it feels like a decade ago, considering everything that's going on. But in 2018, I worked at a pop culture museum in Seattle, and we had like this big IMAX screen as part of the museum. And I just happened to be walking by one day to go take photos of one of the exhibit. And it was BTS's Fake Love, but it was right where they like shift and the music changes and the water comes rushing down besides Jimin. And I was just like, what is this? Like totally mesmerized. And so my coworker, who's like a huge BTS ARMY fan, like, oh my gosh, super fan, she was like, hey, you don't know what this is? And I was like, oh, no. And so then she introduced me and obviously fell down the K-pop rabbit hole.
Well, that's good that she didn't like get mad at you. You don't know who BTS is. That's what sometimes they get like that. But anyways,
yes. It's so funny, but I fell down the rabbit hole. And then from there, like obviously got to know like the Wooga squad from Sojun and Park. I'm like everybody. And so from there I was like, my first K-drama was Itaewon Class, obviously, because of Taeyoung's best friend. And of course, from there, it just, once you get that one K-drama under your belt, you're like, it's like a hunger or a thirst where you need to watch more and consume more. Sure. And you just become like an avid consumer.
That's funny. I mean, so Itaewon Class makes sense because of that Uga squad. But then I thought it was interesting that you didn't watch, maybe you've watched now, Hwarang. Okay, because I was like, you got to watch Hot On because they're all in that practically, right? Or a few of them.
Yes.
But well, super cool. So that's pretty new. But then, yeah, you're right. 2019 seems like a long time ago, and but you got into it. It sounds like through BTS, and then you kind of went down that rabbit hole. So tell me about. So since then, can you count how many K-dramas you've seen, or like I know, is it like 100 or better yet, in the last year during the pandemic, what are the ones, this is a little easier for you to answer then. What are the ones that have really stood out to you, aside from your first one, which always stands out to people?
Gosh, there's so many that stood out to me, especially once Netflix Korea started pumping out all of like, what was it, like mid 2020, where they were just, everything was just super on point.
Yeah.
I think Record of Youth stood out to me just because it was like such a cute like underdog story, and I have a background in fashion, so I really felt compelled into that, as well as It's Okay Not to Be Okay.
Oh, the fashion there. I mean, hello.
Yes, all of the fashion. Oh my gosh. What else? I watched Goblin and W, and just I feel like I'm more drawn to like underdog stories, or like very like aesthetically pleasing and very like artistic, whether it's the writing or kind of the storyline or the fashion. I'm very like into like all aspects of it.
Yeah, and I think you mentioned that before, underdog stories. So why do you think that is? And I guess give me a couple of your favorite underdog stories, because I feel like there's always an underdog in any K-drama, but then you have specifics, I know.
Gosh, I think I like underdog stories just because I feel like they're very motivating and they're very positive, in the sense that like, I mean, Itaewon Class, everything and anything that happened was thrown at him, from, being wrongfully accused to sitting in prison. And it was like a revenge story, but it hinged on him being very like growth oriented and very positive. And I really loved that about that. And then kind of creating your own found family where, you know, not everything is, you know, rainbows and sunshine, and that's okay. And you can find people who you can lean on and who can lean on you. And I really loved that about that story, especially.
Yeah.
And then I loved, gosh, I'm probably gonna say their name wrong. Navillera.
Oh, Navillera, yeah. Yeah.
That
Oh,
one.
I love Navillera too. I mean, I love all the ones you're mentioning, but yes, that one, I think I cried every episode. I don't know why.
Yes. It was like, just, I don't know. For that one, it was such an underdog story for both Song Kang's character and the other one too, because I mean, 23-year-old and a 70-year-old, like such an age gap, but it was just so beautifully told, and how they both kind of overcame Song Kang, his inner demons to succeed, and then kind of leaned into each other, where it was just super heartwarming, and you learned a lot of life lessons from it when you weren't crying a bunch.
Oh, I know. It's so funny that there, and I shared this with you before, but a couple times when people mention K-dramas, of course, like I would love to watch every K-drama under the sun, but it's just hard to, right? With all the time, the limited time we have. But Navillera was one of those I watched after it was done. And you know, when you don't expect to enjoy something so much, you end up loving it so much. So I remember someone saying, watch Navillera, and I'll be honest, I was like, okay, so like an elderly man balleting, what? I mean, I was just kind of like, that was my initial expression. And then of course, Song Kang, I mean, I like him, but I wasn't like, well, all right. But then I guess one day I watched the first episode, and then you're like crying in the first episode because you're just touched by the storyline, and then you want to see what happens. And then just watching him perform, I mean, that is a true underdog story. I mean, I'm even thinking a 70-year-old choosing to, fighting through, I'm probably giving spoilers, but fighting through an illness, or, you know, trying to manage that, and then it coming back, and then being able to do his live stream. You know what I mean? So I hear you. So that was and it was a very mental health boost for me. I cried my way through it.
I did too. My friends and I watched it together. We did like a YouTube watch party, and like a Netflix watch party, and every episode she was like, I don't know can we only just watch one today? Because we would be like, oh yeah, let's totally watch two. And we'd get like halfway through one, and we're like, okay, we're calling it after this. And then we would hop on, you know, go watch something happy.
Yeah. Because it was definitely, it had like some, what was it? Not heavy, but you know what I mean? There was a lot of emotion to it. So that's it. You said something interesting. I thought it was super cool. You had a Netflix watch party. So your friends are also into K-dramas. Now, did you get them into K-dramas?
I've gotten a couple of friends into K-dramas, notably Squid Games. Or Squid Game. A lot of people have dived into that. But we actually met, of course, on Instagram through K-pop, and then just started, you know, talking about our interests outside of K-pop, and then decided that we should start hanging out and having like Netflix watch parties for K-dramas.
I love that. And you know what I love more is just how the energy and the excitement of your love for K-dramas and K-pop spreads to friends. So that said, out of, I guess, the K-dramas you've watched, we know the underdog stories and how they touch you. How have they helped you with your own mental health, your well-being? Because you know that's what I do, right?
I feel like all of the underdog stories, whether it's, you know, a happy one or a sad one, I feel, I don't know, like a sense of motivation afterwards, like depending on, you know, what the story is, whether it's, you know, chasing your dreams and not giving up on that, or I mean, we'll talk about it later, but like in Search, where, you know, you leave a bad situation and go to something else, and just kind of being able to reflect on that on yourself and being like, okay, they went through that and I feel something similar. So maybe I can come together and, you know, get over that, or get past whatever that mental health issue is, and find motivation. I feel like without K-dramas, especially during the pandemic, I could have been in like a mental health dark hole, just because a lot of TV was pushing out sad stuff, or, you know, stuff that was like emotionally heavy, or you're like, I'm living through this, I don't need to be reminded of it on a show I'm watching. So K-dramas were like a good escape and kind of helped me keep my head above water during all of that, and then find friends as well.
That's super cool. So talking about just how it helped you, I guess, get through the pandemic, which I've heard a lot. What is it about the K-dramas? And you can even talk about your favorites and then kind of break it down. Like, for instance, what is it, like maybe a scene or a theme that touches you, that helps you through that or motivates you?
Wow.
I know. Deep question.
Let's see. For Search, I think the scene, and it was like immediately got me into the show, was when Faye Tami is on the witness stand and she's basically being thrown under the bus kind of to own up to everything that her job was doing. Mm-hmm. And at that moment, I felt like I was in her shoes, and like certain jobs in the past where like, you know, everything doesn't go right or whatever, but she just decided to like save herself. And that moment of like, you know, doing what was right for her and owning up to whatever, you know, the secrets were, where they were, you know, wiping the search terms and, you know, changing them and being a little, you know, not honest mm-hmm. and stuff like that. That for me. And then the character Charlotte, and just how strong she is, and just watching how strong she was and how the three main women came together and kind of forged a friendship and had like that fierce kind of lady friendship where they support each other and they're there for each other, even though they're kind of going through their own stuff. Mm-hmm. That really motivated me and kind of made me realize that as an adult, it is hard, especially an adult female, to find friends. And so if, you know, these K-drama characters, obviously it's a story, but if these women can find it and get through these situations, I can. And that really, I don't know, made a soft spot in my heart and for K-dramas moving forward.
No, I love that you said that. Like, I got touched by that because it's not easy to make friends, let alone in the pandemic when we're already isolated. And then, but you did point out several times now that you have made friends through K-dramas. Without talking about them too much, but let's talk about how you found them and what that was like to develop this new community for you.
Gosh, I feel like we kind of found each other on Instagram, of course.
Yeah, gotta love Instagram, right?
Right, it is a great space for randomly finding friends. Who would have thought? Yeah. But I write for Bina's blog, binahearts.com, and so I list my Instagram handle on there, and you know, I occasionally get followers, but I think it was probably within like the last, you know, 8 months, people were actually DMing me where they had read, you know, something I had wrote on her website and were like, hey, you know, I love your viewpoints on this. And it became kind of like a cool, thanks. You know, kind of how do I foster this relationship more? But now it's like a constant conversation stream where they're constantly like, hey, did you watch this drama yet? And just, you know, sliding into my DMs. And it's more of like a friendship that we've fostered because they found me out through my writing, which is rewarding to me because I write because I enjoy it, but it's nice that I found, you know, fans and then turned them into friends who I can, you know, have watch parties with, discuss K-dramas, K-pop, whatever.
That's so cool. I didn't even know you wrote for Bina's blog. I think I found you through the community in general, but that's super cool. So then how did you get involved with that and writing for K-pop or K-drama specifically?
I, as any fan knows, like Soompi is like one of the better sites to get all of your like news, I guess. Mm-hmm. And so she was always one of my favorite writers for any time that she wrote. I was always like, anytime I'd read an article and I'd be like, oh, of course it's Bina, of course. Yeah. Like, and so I started following on her on Instagram, and wow, now it's been a year. Like a year ago, she had put out a thing that she was looking for writers for her blog, and I reached out, and I never reach out because I'm like shy, but I reached out and she was like, yeah, cool. And I've been writing for her for, gosh, I can't believe it's been a year now.
I did not know that. That's super cool. Like, I'm going to have to read those blogs. I just know I just follow you, but I didn't realize exactly where this is why I love doing this, you know, discovering more. But I want to, and then I'm going to ask you more about this, but when people are DMing you, what are some of the things that have spoken and resonated with them? Because obviously it came from you personally as you're writing. What are some of those themes?
That what I wrote really touched them. The one that stands out to me is one of my friends. She's like an ER nurse in Boston. And she wrote me and she was like, I look forward to your pieces when they go live every week. Like it's a highlight of my day when I get that notification where there's like a new post on Dina's blog, because I really enjoy the way that you write. It's kind of like you're candid, but you're talking to your best friend, where I have a personability in my writing, where it's not like I'm telling you, spoilers or what to think. I'm just like, here's how this K-drama touched me, or here's why this K-pop song, resonated with me, and kind of let them deduce their own opinions after that. So it's really nice that people have found, I guess, solace in my writing and the way that I write.
Yeah. I mean, I think that's great. I mean, I think it's exactly why we resonate with all of this, right? How it resonates with us. So then what are your top favorites? I mean, I know your list might be big, but what are your like top 5 favorite K-dramas?
Oh gosh, my top 5 would have to be True Beauty, because, oh my gosh, the character Han So-jun is my favorite.
I know. It's one of those devastating things, So I know, right? It's like whatever. Yeah. They do it so well, those K-dramas with the second lead.
They do. It was just so cute. And I still can't believe that he was 30 when that filmed.
Yeah. I think you're right. I think they all, I mean, Moon Ga-young was definitely younger, but they're still in their mid-20s.
Yeah.
All of them. So, they all look younger, but yes, he was a great.
It's crazy insane to me.
I loved him.
I love W because it's so imaginative for a fantasy type of drama. Like I never thought I would enjoy like a 2-dimensional type of world, but I've seen it like 4 times since.
Wow. No, I love the
so
actors. I love the actors.
Yeah.
You mentioned Search WW. I know that's one of your favorites, right?
Yes. Descendants of the Sun.
Oh, of course. It's a classic.
Yes. Yeah. Everybody loves Descendants of the Sun. And then, gosh, what would be my last one? I would probably say, oh my gosh, people are probably gonna Goblin, just because I love the characters of.
But why would people? Oh my gosh, Goblin's like a classic.
I know, just because it doesn't seem like something I'd watch. Just because it's just, for me, it took me forever. Like my friend made me watch it. Just because I was very resistant.
Yeah. What? Why'd you resist it?
I have no idea. Why I was resisting it. I don't know. I think I didn't really find like the trailers appealing, and then just everything that was written about it. I was like, I feel like I've watched this before, but then I watched it.
I know. I'll be honest. I did not. It was a 2016 K-drama, so I probably watched it 2018. But I'd heard about it because it was all the rage when it came out. But I was like, but the name in itself, Goblin, I was like, what? Like, what? That's not a K-drama. That's like a whatever, But yeah, when you're watching it, like maybe the first 45 minutes gripped me. And I was like, oh my gosh, this is why people loved it so much.
Yes.
But yeah, that's another underdog. Like yeah, totally. I mean, Kim Gon's character, I can't remember her name, but just in general, I just thought that was so well done. Okay. So yeah, you did not name top 5. Now, especially out of the ones that you felt you really identified with, is there a particular one? It doesn't have to be the top 5 too, that really, I guess, helped you with your own mental health. Even if you rewatch going, this is why I watched this, it cheers me up, or it really gets me out of this funk, because that word you've used.
So I would say it's like a 2-part question.
Yeah.
For me, I love obviously Search, because it's like female leads, female empowerment. Like I just love that the guys are background characters too, but they still have depth. It's just a great drama to me. And then I get stuck on when you find an actor that you really like, or you watch one drama with the actor and then you're like, what else did they make? And so you just go on like a binge of theirs.
Which one? Chung Gi-young?
Yes.
Yeah. Yeah,
Yes.
totally. I'm sure you've seen them all now because
Yeah.
they're all out. Yeah.
Yes.
Oh, I
But
like
I
it.
would say that my other one that I don't know if it cheers me up per se,
Mhm.
but it's just really eye-opening is Love Alarm.
Interesting. Okay, I did see both of them. I think the second one to me was better, but that's my opinion. But tell me more about your thoughts on that because not a lot of people talk about Love Alarm.
I just think I love Love Alarm because it's very interesting and it feels very relevant in like the time that we live in, especially with everyone kind of attached to their phones. It's very
Mhm.
different in retrospect to Goblin, where Grimm doesn't know how to operate a phone.
That's a funny
Um,
scene. I love that scene.
I love everything that he says throughout the entire show. I just like
Yeah,
everything.
yeah.
But like how everybody is very into, how social media is. They need likes, they need, comments, followers, and like everything else. And like Love Alarm is very eye-opening because it's an app about, who within, 10 meters of you likes you or loves you, but how it becomes like a thing that you collect where, you have to have more than one person,
Mhm,
like you or love you or whatever. And to me, I'm like, that feels very damaging in the
mhm.
sense that like how people believe that social media is like the end all be all, where likes and comments are great, but it's the few likes and the few comments that you get that you know offer value, where whether it's like, hey, I really loved this post, or hey, I really, the complimentary ones versus
Mhm. The
the ones
toxic
that are,
ones.
yeah, exactly, the trolly ones that aren't great for you. And
Yeah.
so Love Alarm to me was just very eye-opening, and made me kind of take a step back uh, for my social media, and kind of made me reanalyze like how I share and what I share. Like
Oh, wow.
now, if you look at my feed, it's very like uh, more personable, and very targeted for my writing, but
Mm,
blended in kind of my personality as well, because that's the part of me that I want people to see. I don't just want people to, here's a photo of what I ate today, or here's a
yeah.
photo of whatever. I don't want to be posting for the sakes of those like likes and comments or whatever.
Well, first of all, I love that you said that because you're right. In this day and age, it's so funny. It is about followers and likes and sometimes I do, and you're right. And I sometimes work with clients that actually get stuck on one or two toxic comments when they actually have maybe 10 or more good comments. But those one or two toxic comments can be very damaging, like you said. So I really want to talk about this and then we'll wrap up because I really like that you shared this. I think this is like a life lesson. I love that you taught me about, I love Love Alarm. I like number two, but I saw it as, you're right. To me, I got worried a little bit about the suicidal themes in it, which can be a part of social media. But you reminded me of, I guess, being authentic or showing your own self or your best self, but not your best self as in fake self, right? Just who you want people to know about yourself. And how did you change your social media? Meaning, what did you tend to post before, or what was it to you before? And then what has shifted? It's more personal, but give me some examples. I'd love to hear it for our audience.
Gosh, I feel I'm gonna relate it back to another K drama.
No, go ahead. And
So
by the way, what's the name of your Instagram handle so we could talk about this?
kind of
Kind of,
Voguish.
yeah, I knew what it was, but I wanted you to say kind of Voguish, which I like. By the way, how'd you come up with that name?
Um, I just it felt, because I have like a background in fashion or whatever, and people think of Vogue as fashion, and so I'm kind of Voguish, where sometimes I try trendy stuff, and other times I'm just like, this is what you get for the day.
No, I love it. And I thought of the Vogue Madonna song. I'm like,
Oh
oh,
yes.
yeah. Yeah, that's how I was going to go like this. But no, go ahead. So it comes back to a K drama. Yeah.
So previously I felt like I was kind of like Imjagun in True Beauty, where it was very like she gets all dolled up and then takes the cute selfies.
Mhm.
Um, and I feel like they didn't do that a lot in the K drama as well as they did in like the webtoon, where it's like constantly she's posting, oh, look at this cute trendy spot I'm in. Oh, look at over here kind of stuff. I was very into that and very into like editing my photos and applying filters. And like, while yes, it was me, like stepping back, I'm like, okay, I have like eye wrinkles, and I'm not, you know,
Yeah.
like all of these different aspects to me. And sometimes, I have, a bad hair day or whatever. And so I felt like I wasn't being like true to who I was. And it was very, I don't know, methodical and planned. Which, she was in True Beauty, where everything, getting ready to go to makeup. She didn't want anybody to see her real face like ever. And so once I realized that through like all of my K-drama watchings and just even following people within the industry, especially like actors and actresses, and like just this fun stuff that they post like behind the scenes, like it's not always super polished. I was like, if they can do it, I can do it, because they are in the celebrity spotlight with millions of eyeballs on them, and they have the confidence to show up however they are. I can do that. And so
that's so awesome.
Yeah, so I wiped and archived everything that I had posted and started from scratch. And so it looks like my Instagram is brand new, but it's not. I just wanted all of the old out of the way to actually be authentic to who I was.
Oh my gosh, I really, really love that. And you're actually reminding me of somebody who it's a good friend of mine, but I admire her photos. They're very filtered, obviously, but filtered not to the point of covering the real stuff up, just enhancing it. And then she's like, oh, you got to get this XYZ app, whatever it was. And I was like, huh. And I thought about getting the app. I forget one of the apps that you have to purchase, right? It's still minimal cost, but I was like, should I get the app? But you know what? I don't think I will get the app. You're just reminding me. We have tons of filters on our phones anyway, just to like fix the lighting. But this was to like really fix things up. And I was like, that's not real. That I would be kind of enhancing things for the sake of enhancing things. So thanks for that accountability. I forget the name of the app though, but it's one of those latest face apps that you can do all this cool stuff. Wow. And you actually deleted. Wow. Cause I think, did I meet you after that then? Cause from what I see is you, but I guess, yeah. Wow. So thanks for sharing that. And folks listening, Love Alarm. Yeah. Teaching us about social media and being real, I guess, being your true self. So that said, on a final note, is there a specific K-drama that when or if you do tell people about K-dramas, is there one you go try, do you say, oh, you got to go to this one first? Or I suggest you watch this to get started into K-drama. Do you do any of that?
I attempt to, depending on like what their genre is. And I usually revert to like Netflix, because I feel like everybody has Netflix.
True. Mm-hmm.
Which is great because there's a lot of good K-dramas on there. So, if they are into like romance, I'm always crash landing on you, because you can't just not. I've actually got a lot of guy friends into K-dramas through Squid Game, just because it's very gritty and dark.
And gritty and dark, and there's action and killing and
totally, all of the things. And so that it's easy to get guys in through like that route. And then I would totally try like Goblin or even like True Beauty if they were on Netflix.
Though I have a feeling they'll eventually be, for a while, Goblin was never on Netflix, sorry. But no, that's good. Oh, I love it that you have different ones is there like a particular, when people want not romance and it's not action like Squid Game, do you have like another K-drama that you offer?
Oh gosh, that's a difficult one, because I usually like ride the fine line between both.
Me too.
What was the other one? Nope. I was like, there's another one. There has to be.
I put you on the spot. Sometimes it's hard. People are like, oh my gosh, how do I think of the K-drama? Because we watch so many, but it may come to you. But someone actually said to me recently, they were like, Jeannie, so the ones you mentioned recently, I think I was talking to them and they were like, they're all love stories. I'm like, they are? You know how you don't notice that they're all love stories? Because it's the trope, right? The common trope. And I was like, oh, she's like, do you have one that's not a love story aside from Squid Game and like the harsher ones she wasn't want to watch? She didn't want to watch all lovey-dovey. And I had a hard time. I was like, okay, no love story. Then I was like, Navillera, but then she already watched that. And so it's hard to think about those, right?
It's so hard.
Story. I was like, can't avoid them. It's K-drama. That's what they do. But I guess you and I are kind of stumped, because I was like, what is another one? Dear My Friends is one. that's not so much of a love story per se, but it's about the elderly. But that said, any last words for K-pop, K-drama fans out there that you want to share that's pressing on you?
Gosh, don't be afraid to try something new. I was stuck in just very rom-com oriented, but find an actor that you like Han So-hee when she came out in Nevertheless, like loved that, and then following up that with My Name, like showing her duality and stuff like that, where she can go from like naive, soft girl to like total awesome, strong, badass. Confident woman. Yeah, badass. I didn't know if I could say it.
Yeah, no, yeah, just say it. Badass. Yeah, I was shocked too because I did not like her. Nevertheless, I was like, so annoying. I get annoyed, but then I'm like, oh my gosh, she's so cool in My Name. But and that's My Name is not my type of drama. Like, but I wanted to watch it. Right. That's super cool that you said so. Try something new. Actually, I didn't even ask you this. Who is your favorite? Do you have a favorite K-drama actor?
Oh gosh, I have a lot. Okay, I would say right now, oh gosh, Wee Jun, just because.
Oh yeah, of course. Of course. Yeah.
And then not because of Squid Game, but because of like, I loved him in Romance is a Bonus Book.
A bonus book. I noticed him then too, and I really was like, he's cute. Who is this guy? Yeah.
And I'm really loving him in Bad and Crazy.
Okay, so I have not started Bad and Crazy. And Singles, speaking of which, Bad and Crazy and the latest K-drama you're watching was also Singles Inferno, or you finished that?
I just finished it.
Okay. So tell me your thoughts on Singles Inferno.
I was a little reluctant to watch a reality show, if I'm being honest, because I've been obviously in the US, we have a lot of reality shows and they're all a little not great, yeah, if I'm being honest. And so I was like, I don't know what to prepare myself because I know with US reality shows, they're very smutty, like from the get-go. And I was like, I brought in my K-drama knowledge where I was like, how is this going to work? Like, they're not just going to like throw smut at me, right? Like, I'm not prepared for that.
Yes, totally.
But I liked it where I guess the depth of each person that was cast was they were different than what I thought, where they tell you who they are, like obviously they have to go to paradise for you to like learn their age and what they do in real life, but I loved that because you kind of got to know who they are as people outside of their age or what they do. And some of them have like real depth and they're very like interesting and cool, and it was just really fun to watch. And just how, I don't know, just love from a different perspective and how dating works, and the mindset.
And mindset's different in Korea than here. I think you could see that difference. I haven't finished it since I started later because I was resisting it, but it's very PG.
It's so PG, but it's refreshing though. Like I didn't want
I was scared of that too. I was like, oh, Singles Inferno, the name itself, I was like, oh no,
Yes, but I do appreciate the games that they had them play where you could see the guys, and even that was shocking where especially the guys and the girls, when they would compete, I'd be like, oh, this guy is gonna win, like in my mind, or this girl's gonna win. Nope.
Nope, I know. And Koreans are really good with games, I will say. Like sometimes I'll be like, these are pretty cool games,
They are. The last game, I think it was episode 7 or 8, whichever one has the last game that the guys play, you're going to be very surprised. Like when I was watching it, I was certain that it was going to go this way and these guys were going to get knocked out. And no, it went the completely opposite direction. I was like, wow, you are so competitive. And they didn't come off as being very competitive at all.
Yeah. That's the Korean way. No, I'm kidding. No, I'm generalizing, but you know how you can keep that stoic presence, but then you're really full of expression. I'm just being very stereotypical, but no, that's cool. I'm very excited that this show did well. And it's not going to be like American shows because it's Korean culture. So I guess we should be good on that. I mean, I think that's so funny. You sound so loyal to the K-dramas and, protecting what we know of the themes.
Yes. Well, that's what I wanted to. I was like, I don't 8 days, like, I don't know.
Yeah.
I just felt like it could go real bad, real fast, especially if it was here where like, I don't know if you've seen like the K-drama memes where it's like, you know, in America, they're, you know, doing XYZ already in episode 1, where episode 8, they're finally holding hands or they're kissing on the cheek.
Oh, totally. Or even, or we finally get the kiss in. Did you see the red sleeve?
Yes.
Okay. Yeah. So finally, I mean, I was like dying going, where's the kiss? Episode 8 happened, you know, and it was much later, but still, I think it's, that's what we get in a K-drama. We know the tropes, but no, I appreciate this. This was so much fun talking to you. So excited that you got into writing too on Bina's blog. And I can't wait to just read more of your stuff, and also check out your Instagram. And I'm going to just talk about how you basically change things from Love Alarm. I think that's super great lesson. So thank you for sharing that and teaching.
Well, thank you.
Thanks for joining me, Rachel, and we'll keep in touch. See you soon.
Sounds good. Bye.
Bye.